When it comes to painting minis, we all have to start somewhere, and sloppy paint jobs are just part of the learning process. But bad habits can perpetuate the sloppiness and lead to dissatisfaction with the finished product, as well as a lot of frustration. We're going to talk about 5 habits you need to break to level up your mini painting this week on Short Rest Studios. What's up, adventurers? Welcome to another episode of Short Rest Studios. My name is Judd, and this week we're talking about 5 mini painting habits you need to break to level up your painting. And you want to hang around for the end because I do have a 6th bonus habit that you want to check out. Let's dig in. Habit number 1, rushing. We've all done it. We get excited about seeing that finished mini, and we skip steps and we put on the paint sloppily and we miss details. And in the end, we're just frustrated and really unhappy with the finished product. Instead of rushing, be patient, take your time, focus on each step in the process. Clean and prime your minis thoroughly, go slow with layers, take breaks if you need to. In the end, patience is the key, not just to a good-looking painted mini. Patience is the key to actually enjoying the process of painting, which is really what it's about for me. Habit number 2, neglecting preparation. Listen, this goes hand in hand with the first one, and I've done it, and I know we've all done it. But you get excited about getting into it, and you want to skip those early steps that really feel like they're not all that necessary. But I'm here to tell you from personal experience that they are necessary to being satisfied with your finished mini. Preparation is the foundation to a good painted mini. If you don't do the preparation right, the paint won't adhere to the miniature, you'll miss details, things will be sloppy, and you won't be happy with the finished product. Again, it's about patience. You want to focus on each step in the preparation so that your finished product comes out the way you want it to. You need to start with cleaning your minis thoroughly. If you 3D print a lot of minis like I do, you have to clean them as part of that printing and curing process. You use IPA and clean off all that residue because it's toxic and you don't want to touch it, okay? But in the end, that helps you prepare them for painting. Now, if you're buying plastic minis, you want to clean those as well because the manufacturers often use mold release agents, some kind of chemicals that leave some residue on those miniatures, and just by the nature of them, they can cause the paint not to adhere properly, even the primer. So you want to clean that residue off with just a little soap and water, maybe a toothbrush or something to scrub in there. Clean those off thoroughly. Next, you want to remove your mold lines and fill gaps. And there's a whole process to those things, but suffice to say, you need to do it if you want to be satisfied with the way your mini comes out. Now, if you're like me, sometimes you don't really care too much about the mold lines unless they're really bad. Like, some bald guy has like a line across his top of his head, something like that. But you do want to prepare those in a way that is satisfactory to you and not just skip them because you're impatient. If you really honestly don't care, skip it. It's fine. But most of the time, you're probably going to regret not getting rid of those mold lines and not filling those gaps with some milliput or something like that. And the next step in preparation is to prime the minis thoroughly. You don't want to skip this step because most acrylic paint is not going to stick to that plastic or resin the way that you want it to without priming first. The primer just gives it a good surface to adhere to and makes your life easier in the long run. Trust me. I use Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch paint and primer in one because it's pretty inexpensive and it does the job. You don't have to use the expensive miniature primers. If you want to, go ahead. I prefer to save a little money on that part of the process. Bad habit number 3 that you need to break is overloading your brush. And this is so easy to do, but too much paint on the brush means messy application. And that means you lose details and you get blobs and all kinds of things that you don't want in your finished mini. Instead, when you load your brush, you want to wipe it off on your palette or on a paper towel, or as I prefer, on a piece of parchment paper because the paper towel will absorb moisture from it. You can even take some practice strokes on your hand. I do this a lot, especially when working on eyes, just to make sure I can get the precise stroke that I need to. If you got too much paint on it, you're not going to have that precision. In the end, wiping off that excess paint, taking those practice strokes, that gives you more precise application and it makes your details look better. And makes the overall finished product that much nicer. Hey, if you're getting something out of this video, if you're learning something, if you're just enjoying it, do me a favor, hit the like button down below. It helps it get out to more people. And you can also hit the battle axe underneath me to subscribe to this channel and keep up with what I'm doing week to week on Short Rest Studios. And if you want to support this channel in other ways, you can visit our Etsy shop, which I will put a link to in the description below. And there you can buy handmade terrain, you can buy some game accessories and miniatures. Check them out. And now on to mini painting habit number 4 that you need to break. Painting with thick layers. We've all done this. We decide we just want to put thick layers down in order to get full coverage as quickly as we can. But again, this is about patience. Thick layers don't help you. Similar to overloading your brush, you're going to find that thick layers obscure your details, they give you a loss of depth, and your finished product just is not as precise as you really want it to be. My advice to you is to thin your paints. Some paints, like Reaper paints, they come a little thinner and you may be able to get away with not thinning them as much, but I use Vallejo paints because I like the quality of those paints and they're pretty thick. I have to thin them. All you have to do is get a wet palette, drop a little bit of paint on there from a dropper bottle, get your brush, drop a little bit of water, mix it in, and you get it to the consistency that you want it. Enough to cover the surface, but not be so thick that it obscures details. If you get it too thin, it doesn't really cover the surface, but it fills in lower details, and you will have to go back and paint another layer over that. But a thin layer is always preferable to a thick layer. Eventually, you're going to get a feel for how much water to add to your paint to thin it properly. It's just going to take some practice. Again, this is about patience. You want to apply thin layers to gradually build up your colors. This gives you better control over the paint and in the end, more precise detail, and it's gonna look better. Habit number 5 that you need to break when you're painting minis is one that most people probably don't even think about in the beginning. Ignoring proper lighting. If you don't paint with proper lighting, you're gonna find that your color choices are inaccurate. You're gonna miss details, your shading's gonna be bad, all kinds of stuff like that. Proper lighting is huge when you're painting minis. Just make sure you have good lighting. A room with great natural light is great. You can also have a dedicated painting lamp that has a daylight bulb or something like that that's a pure, bright source of light. Because listen, the last thing you want is to paint that awesome looking ogre and then take him in another room and realize, hey, this guy looks like Donald Trump on roids, okay? That is not the color I meant to paint him. That's what happens when you don't have proper lighting. All right, I promised you a bonus, and here it is, number 6. And this really isn't about the process. This is just about the way you think about the process. And it's really, really important. Bad habit number 6, quit being so hard on yourself. It's supposed to be fun. It's a hobby. You're supposed to enjoy it. If it's not perfect, hey, so what? We can't all be masterpiece painters. And if that's what you want, that's great. Go for it. Learn and grow in that process and become the painter you want to be. But for most of us, maybe we just like painting the things and we don't care if they look like masterpieces, but the outside world is telling us all these things. Like we get on YouTube and we see people painting these beautiful minis and ours don't look like that and we're dissatisfied. Don't compare yourself to other people. You know me, I just want to heighten the fun of the tabletop game by having some painted minis. And listen, a mini doesn't have to be painted perfectly to look good on the tabletop. It doesn't. Don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace and try to just be patient and have fun painting those minis. I'm still a growing mini painter. It takes time and patience to break these bad habits and develop new good ones. But it's worth it in the end to put the work in and just enjoy the process. So there you have it. 5 bad habits you need to break to level up your mini painting, plus a bonus 6th one. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Short Rest Studios. Again, hit that like button down below if you got some value out of this so that other people will get to see this video. And hit the subscribe button, the battle axe underneath me, to keep up with what's happening every week on Short Rest Studios. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time on Short Rest Studios. Proper preparation Let's say that 3 times fast.